And then 10 minutes later, the cops show up for us.
Excuse me,
the
man.
cops show up for us.
What?
Excuse me, man. We're going to have to take you to jail for being in the middle of the parking lot. Thank you, sir. Like, so helpful.
Welcome to the Big Dane Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Warnock, and in this podcast, find the connection in the weird experiences that we all share. Listen to new episodes on Tuesdays wherever you get your podcasts. Hey friends, let's get weird. In this week's episode, Keri Ledford joins me in speaking about her weird job experiences. Stay tuned to listen and find out why the cops rolled up at the YMCA. What? Welcome, Keri.
That's so funny.
That'll get you.
Great intro. That'll get you.
Hello, welcome. Happy to have you on.
Yay.
Before we get into it, just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Keri. I guess a little related to the story is I am an occupational therapist. I have my master's of science in occupational therapy. I'm from Bucks County, and yeah, did that cover all of our bases?
Yeah, whatever you want. And any side gigs?
Oh, and a fun fact. So I'm full-time occupational therapist with a little photography biz on the side. Ooh. which is fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
That comes with that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's hop to it.
All right.
What do you got for us today?
So, like I said, I'm an occupational therapist. So I work specifically with adults with disabilities, and this actually happened before I went back to school.
Okay.
So this happened 2018, so like we're going on 5 years and I'm still telling people this story because it was so bizarre. But yeah, before I even went back to school for occupational therapy, I was working kind of like a day program with adults with disabilities, kind of like a summer camp. Like we were teaching them independent living skills. They lived in apartments, and there's different, we're called mentors, and we come in and, like I said, teach them how to live on their own. So one man I was working with one day, and I think it was only like my first or second day on the job. I was taking him to do like fitness routines. Like a huge part of everyone's life is like getting to the gym. So that was important to us. We wanted to get him out into the community, out specifically to the YMCA. They have like an indoor track. So we were going to walk on it, which great. That was our plan for like the morning. And then with each individual, you have an ISP, individualized service plan.
Okay.
So it just goes a little more into details of who they are as a person, kind of their strengths, and some things that we're working on with them and goals. So I knew it from his ISP and just from talking to my boss and his parents that he has agoraphobia. So I don't know the exact definition, but I knew with him it presented as fear of like open spaces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so fear of open spaces. So like you go outside and that is a very open space.
Yeah, literally, like a lot of things.
Yeah, so he experienced that. So I was aware of that, but I think I'd worked with him the day before and it all went smooth. Like I said, it was only my second day on the job, so I'm like out here doing my best. Like just out here doing my best. I didn't really know much.
Yeah, just like, all right.
So yeah, again, like aware of it, but
it was. So I have a question for you. So with the ISP, was there something in there that spoke to like how frequent, you know, this phobia came on and like tips, you know, what to do, or was it just like, we'll see what happens?
No,
like
that's,
kind of like
a
good.
Great question. And I'm sure, yeah, it was written in there. And before this, like I said, I was aware of it, but like ISPs are so long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like it was probably written. Yeah, it was probably like pages and pages and pages. And it's so cool because you get really like a big picture of that person, but like this detail of who they are. It must have like not occurred a ton, or else it would have been like highlighted, or like I would have known more about it, but it was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It just like wasn't in my face, bold, like do not take, like in nothing red. Like that. Yeah, nothing like that. Okay. So we're going to the YMCA, like I said, and we show up, and a little more background about him, I guess, is he's nonverbal. So he works with an iPad as his communication device. Okay. But they had a speech therapist on the team that was still working to develop his skills at using the iPad. So there would be certain words or certain requests on it, but he didn't necessarily always revert to using them. So that was just like an added layer. It was like communication. Yeah. And how difficult it was in that moment. Yeah. Which we'll get into later in the story. So we go to the YMCA, and we do his fitness routines, and we walk the track, and it's great, and everything's good. Yeah. And then we're going to leave the YMCA to move to our next activity, and we walk out, and the YMCA, it's the one like up in Havertown. It's like okay. Big,
it's
busy,
so nice.
And it's
I've been
so
in there.
Nice, like always busy. This was like summer, so like kids are out of school. Yeah, like, everyone's going to the YMCA. Yeah, like, it's packed. So like we walk, crowded. Yeah. So we walk out, and my car, like I said, it's packed. So my car is like all the way in the back of the parking lot, which like is so funny because in my mind, I was like, we need to park close. It's just gonna be easier, but like we just we couldn't. Yeah. So we parked all the way in the back, and we come out of the YMCA, and I'm like, okay, like let's go to the car, let's walk. And we're walking, and in the middle of the parking lot, I like the agoraphobia, like this fear just like kicked in, and he just plopped on the ground in the middle of the parking lot, which like, okay, doesn't sound like a big deal, but no, it turned into something pretty big. So he's sitting in the middle of the parking lot. So I'm like, literally, if anything from my job comes of this, like I'm a safety, like I have to worry about safety. Sure. Like that at the end of the day, that's, if I don't do anything all day, at least I kept somebody safe, you know? Yeah. So I was like, safety, like this is such a busy YMCA. Cars are coming, like.
It's so, it's high traffic.
Yes, area. Like you first think of this, you're like, oh, somebody sat down. No, like cars are coming. And like cars are coming in and out all the time.
And I would say for Havertown, it's a big parking lot.
Yeah, it's
like
huge.
Knowing that Havertown is so small big. And doesn't have a lot of large parking lots. Yeah. So in the reality, like it's really not that big.
I know.
You know
what
I mean?
If you're like painting a picture of what this parking lot was, like you walk out and it's like just left, right sidewalks. You walk straight. It's like one big road. Yeah, the road is literally. It's not like the highway, but it's like
busy.
It's a road. Yeah. It's like the main in. My God. And I'm like, we're literally parked. We're probably walking like a football field to get to my car. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but it felt like it. Like, yeah. And then he just plopped. So. That's where the story kind of begins. It was him plopping on the ground. And I, like at first, I'm trying not to panic. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like let's use his device. So like he is receptive to me speaking. It's him speaking back, which is where he uses his device. Okay. So I was like talking to him and kind of trying to understand what was going on. But in that moment, like I didn't really understand it. Yeah.
And it was just you.
And it was,
you,
just you and him. It's me. Okay. Me and him.
Like, no, yeah.
No help. Yeah. Just me and him. Day 2 of my job. Like, literally have no training in this. Before, like, I went to OT school. You know, I was very limited training. Like, yeah.
And the device is the iPad that he has?
He uses the iPad. So, like I said, I'm trying to stay calm, but at this point, I'm like, come on, we gotta get up, let's keep, like, kind of, I guess my way to cope with it was, like, motivation, like, come on, we can do it.
Yeah.
Like, and probably, like, in that situation wasn't what he
best.
needed.
Yeah.
Probably didn't need, when he's, like, has this fear, didn't need me being, like
cheerful.
Come on. Yeah, like, let's go, rah.
Yeah.
Like, probably not the best approach, which is okay. Like, I was, like I said, I was doing my best.
Yeah.
And that goes on for, like, 5 minutes maybe, and then I'm like, and it's not even, like, when I tell the story, I'm like, it wasn't like he was on this island where the grass is. Like, this is in the middle of the street. So then, and this wasn't helpful at all from anyone who, I don't know, works at YMCAs or just gyms or stores. Don't do this next move. Please don't do this next move. Like, wasn't helpful. Actually made the situation so much more stressful. So, but it was somebody trying to be helpful. So there's just me out there by myself. And like I said, we're out there for 5+ minutes. And then a worker from the YMCA comes out and they say to me, like, are they okay? And it was either we called the cops one or we called an ambulance. I can't remember which one.
Okay.
But I was like, why? But why? Why would you not tell
like
them first? Like, it already happened. Like, they had called somebody. Like, emergency services are on their way. I'm like, why? Because they thought he fell and, like, hit his head. I'm like, no, but
like,
why?
Why would you assume?
Why would you not? See, guys, communication.
Oh my God.
Communication, because that was not helpful. So I don't even know what I said in the moment. It was 5 years ago. I was probably, like, so nice about it too, which is, like, annoying.
Yeah.
I should have been like, but why? But I was like, okay, like, little okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then I guess I think they stayed out there with me. So I'm still trying to get him up. And then 10 minutes later, the cops show up for us.
Excuse me,
the cops show up for us.
What?
Excuse me, ma'am. We're going to have to take you to jail for being in the middle of the parking lot. Thank you, sir. Like, so helpful.
Oh,
and, like, the cops.
Poor guy.
I think it would be so helpful if, like, cops got trainings on how to work with adults with developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities, autism, and just, like, different strategies to go about situations like this, because this stuff happens. Like, maybe not this specific situation happens all the time. This stuff happens all the time in the community. Yeah. And the cops, like, they just don't know how to go about it. And anyway, that's, like, a tangent.
So that's
like,
another.
It would be great if you could get, like, OTs in there.
Yeah.
To, like, do a little training.
Or a presentation.
Of, like, a presentation, something like that.
A little handout.
Or a handout, right?
Here's a video.
Anyway, back in 2018, that did not happen in this specific situation.
No.
So I don't know
there.
what the cop was thinking, but his approach, mine was rah-rah cheerleader. His was go up to him. Come on, buddy. Get up. Get up, buddy. You got to get up. Come on. Get up. I'm like, sir, in what planet did you think that was going to work, sir?
And you said something like that?
I was so mousy back then. Like, I didn't want to, like, it was day 2. Like, I was like, okay. So the cops there, we now have the person from the YMCA out there, like, standing with us. And then we're, like, going back to, we're in the middle of the parking lot. So there, like, it's busy. There becomes an open space, like a parking space.
Yeah.
Very close to us. Okay. That we're, like, interfering with people getting in and out of the space. But somebody was like, I'm not parking in the back of the parking lot. I want this space. But like I said, we're interfering. Like, it's hard to get into that space because we're right there.
Yeah.
This little old lady, bless her heart.
Oh, no.
She was probably like, it's July. I am not walking from the back of the parking lot. I'm getting that space. And she did attempt to get that space. Yep. She really did. And she makes, like, a wide turn into the parking space. And the cop's there, right? She hits a car. She literally hits a car.
Oh, my gosh. So it gets better.
I don't know if she, like, was trying to play it off like she didn't hit I saw her hit the car. So I knew Sir Cop next to me saw her hit the car.
Yeah.
Somebody was parked in front of her, saw her hit the car. This lady tries to get out and go to the YMCA, and the lady...
She's gonna crash my car and
go
into the YMCA.
I mean, it wasn't like a full crash, but you definitely, like, you wanted to give insurance. Like, you definitely wanted to pull that insurance card out and have it available. No, the lady was like, I'm gonna hop on the bike on the YMCA and see you later.
Okay, taking a break ski here because I wanted to inform you on my newsletter that gets deployed on a monthly basis. So I promise I won't spam you. You'll get the latest upcoming news on the podcast, episode highlights, and some of my favorite podcasts that I enjoy. Sign up today by visiting thebigdanepodcast.com, and the pop-up will prompt you to fill out your info. Again, that's thebigdanepodcast.com.
Lady is she's pulled in the car. The lady's like, ma'am, you just hit that car. And I think she was just like, oh, little old me. she
play it off like she knew.
But she was like, oh my gosh, did I? So now the cop's like involved in that, like this car hit. So he's like, I think he realized, like, what am I gonna do? And like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm just gonna go to do this situation now, which was great. Is he still on the ground? Yeah, we're probably like 25 minutes in now. Like, we're on the ground still. So it's like I said a million times, it's my second day. I don't want to call my boss. Right. I don't want to call my boss. I feel like a failure if I have to sit here and call my boss on day 2. So-and-so won't get off the ground. What do I do? Like, what is she going to tell me? I don't know. So I eventually called my boss. I was like, suck it up, call the boss. Like, you need to get out of this situation. So I called my boss, and she was like so understanding. She's great. And she's like, okay, like, let me get in touch with his parents. So
interesting. Like, she didn't even have.
She was like,
a strategy?
She was gonna hop on over to us, but she at the time just had so much on her plate because it was like a small company. So she was in every situation. And like I said, something like this happens all the time. So she probably was dealing with something else. Yeah. So had to like reach out to the family to kind of deal with this. Oh. So she reaches out, and I'm like, no, now the family knows, and I'm a failure. Day 2, this is horrible.
Okay, so at this point, now that she's calling the parents, how much time has gone by?
I think it was like an hour? 20. No, 25 minutes. 25 minutes, but still
a long time for like
to be in the middle of a parking lot and like panicking and like I don't know how long this is gonna go on for. I mean, maybe a little longer because the cops had to come. Like that's maybe my like timeline. It's a little messed up, but I don't think it was an hour. That would be crazy. Okay. That would be crazy on my part to wait that long to reach out. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like at some point you got to think like, well, like I've done what like I could. Safety-wise, and you know, we'll just have to call her. I don't think I waited an hour. I think I finally was like, we just need to move on with this. So she calls the parents. And the mom just shows up out of nowhere. And then she shows up, she gets out of the car, and she says, just walks up to him, says, blah, 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 like, get up. Literally was just like, get up. He gets up, and he gets in the car, and they leave. And I was like, was he just messing with me? Like, was he just messing with me? But, like, later on, like, talking to the parents, it was that, like, agoraphobia, like, component of, like, she said that not something exactly like that has happened before, but he does have those instances where he just shuts down. It's just like he becomes almost like so overstimulated. I don't know if overstimulated is the word, just so overcome with like fear that he just shuts down. So maybe I just needed to let a little more time go by for him to like really settle. But, like, he wasn't settling because everyone was probably in his face. Yeah. Like, between me, rah-rah, cop, get up, YMCA, I'm calling the cops. Like, it probably, like, if we probably were a little more calm about it, it would have been fine within 10 minutes. But it was, like, person after person after person. I was like, oh, my gosh. But then right after that, I was like, he literally just got up within 3 seconds of his mom being like, get up. And I was like, I think like, okay, great. So that's why the cops had to come to the YMCA. Yep. So
a good one. It's a goodie. And it's so funny because I work for the company now.
It's this. Okay.
It's the same company. Yes. I came back even after all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I definitely have a lot of funny stories from my job.
Oh my God. And yeah, did the mom or dad, did they tell you, a tip for the future at all, or?
I don't know. I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
I did continue to work with him.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen again. Like, we'd go to the Y, and I'd just be, like, very intentional about parking close.
We're in the parking lot.
Yeah. I did. Definitely the next time I went, heart rate was like, come on, dude, don't do this to me again.
Stressful situation.
But, no, the whole summer we worked together. Like, I was consistently with him. And maybe, like, he just developed more trust with me as, like, we moved forward together that summer. But didn't happen again. No more crazy stories with him. Other people, yes. Him, no.
Yeah.
Pretty like smooth sailing from there on out. Yeah.
But you were mentioning you had some other stories from your job.
I mean, if you have time, this one just cracks me up, and it's just so funny because it's so like fresh in my brain because it happened last week. But yeah, I could tell that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, same job. 5 years later, went to OT school. Now I work as an OT in the community setting. So with adults with intellectual, developmental, autism. So one of our things in our program we're big on is like partnerships in the community and volunteering. So each week we go down to this facility in the city to volunteer there, which is super cool. So I was taking a group of 3 people down, and everything was normal that day. It was smooth sailing, like everything was going good. And we're going to the city and we practice, we call it travel training. So we take SEPTA down to the city and we practice like money management and just like etiquette on the train.
Yeah.
And they were doing great. Like it was going great. And then we get off SEPTA and somebody I was working with had balance issues. So I was like, typically we'd walk to the facility, which is like a 20-minute walk. And it's a nice like exercise. But I was like, for him, like, we're going to take an Uber just because we were first off running late, and second, the balance stuff, it was just going to be a little easier to navigate. So we're all waiting outside of like the Comcast building because we come through Suburban Station. And we're waiting there. I call an Uber, and 5 minutes later, the Uber pulls up, but he's like a half a block away. So I'm like, guys, we have to like walk down. So we all walk down, and I'm about to, like, I'm getting everyone in the car. I'm like, get in the back. And one of the guys is like, I forgot my water bottle. And I was like, it's fine. Like, get in the car. Like, we'll
figure
later.
it out.
And he was like, no, no. And literally darts off in Center City, like Comcast building. And I was like, like at this point in time, like me like, 5 years ago
we don't
compared
got time
to me
to
now. No, literally, I like darted after him and I took him by like his throat. I was like, no, get in the car right now.
Oh my God.
I was like, we are not doing that today.
Oh, good.
So he gets in the car, but like, and I felt like really bad because he was very much like just flooded with emotions. Like he shut down, and like you couldn't really get through to him just because he was like in his mind this was like the end of the world. Right. But I was like trying to, now I have better strategies, so I was trying to help him with like the perspective of the situation. And I was like, is this like a catastrophe or is this like a minor inconvenience? And he was like, this is the end of the world. And I was like, okay. So I'm like,
okay, so that's not work. That explanation
so I was like, okay,
didn't work
well, cross that off the list. That's not helping either. A lot of what I do is trial and error. And we definitely like, it's cool because we have trainings and meetings just of different strategies, maybe things that have worked with other people or things that are like proven in like research to work. But it's really just like going down a list of like, how can we manage this situation? And it's nice once you get to know people more, you kind of know, but this was my first time working with this group. So I was like, I don't really know them too well to know what helps them in times of like this over flooding of emotions. But I'm like trying, right? And we're in the Uber, and I'm like turned back to him, like trying to calm him down. The Uber driver is cracking up, literally cracking up.
Oh no.
And like part of me is like fuming. I'm like, dude,
this is something.
Yeah, like, and he didn't like outwardly they're very like normal presenting.
Yeah.
But they have a diagnosis.
Yeah.
And he just, I don't know, he just didn't understand.
Just like, yeah.
And I wasn't in the place to explain it. I didn't feel like I had to explain it.
Yeah.
So he's literally cracking up, and he goes, I'm in the front seat, everyone else is in the back. Uber driver's tapping me, sis. And I'm like ignoring him because I'm trying to calm so-and-so down in the back. Sis. I finally turned to him. He goes, he's a grown man. He needs to act like it. I said, what?
Oh my God.
I think I just like sat forward at that point, and I was like, you need to calm yourself down now, because you do not talk to somebody like that. That is so wrong. He's a grown man. He needs to act like it. What? I was like, girl, if you freak out right now, that Uber rating is going to drop so low.
Yeah.
No, but
seriously.
So it's not helpful at all.
Oh.
Like, at all.
Like, how, I don't know. It's like, think about what you're about to say. What's coming out of your mouth? Like, and you know
Crazy.
Nothing about these people.
Nothing.
You don't know anything. So don't assume just because they look okay.
Right.
That everything inside is okay, because it's not.
Yes. And like he really was just having a hard time regulating his emotions. Like we all do. Come on. Like be more empathetic towards the situation. Whatever. Yeah. So he finally does calm down like a bit. We do the volunteering. Sorry, put this up more.
Oh no, you're good.
We do the volunteering. And like the day's good. He regulates, and I'm like, wait, he's like, I really turned it around, huh? And I was like, yeah, you did awesome. So our volunteering day ends, and then it's time for another Uber ride.
I was like, fast forward, like, here we go
again. Yeah. So we walk down, I call an Uber again, and the Uber pulls up, but he's across the street, so we have to cross the street to get to him. So this time I have 4 guys with me. So it's 4 guys and me, so 5 people. But again, like safety, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, just everyone needs to get in the Uber. We need to be safe. So I'm like, everyone up, cross the street, put your phones down, pay attention. Yeah. Okay, so I'm like leading the pack. Everyone's crossing the street, and then I'm getting people into the Uber. One guy decides he's not going to cross the street, and I like didn't notice. Because I'm like, okay, everyone got up. Like, I made it very clear, like, it's time to get into the Uber and go home. One guy didn't cross the street, and this is the man with the balance issues.
Oh, no, the balance guy.
So I am getting somebody into the Uber, and I, like, see, like, I'm on, like, the far side of the Uber. Yeah. So, like, I'm not in the street. I'm on the sidewalk, and I see through the window
that he's
is sitting. Like, he's getting up. Before I can even say it, he's now getting up and decides it's a good time to cross. But, like, a lot of the people we work with don't have, like, community mobility safety, like, skills, and he was one of them. Like, just doesn't, like, the whole day, like, even just, like, walking to the train, walking wherever we walked, he just didn't have safety skills to independently navigate the community, which includes looking both ways before you cross the street. Like, just didn't have it.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
Yep. So he gets up. I'm all the way across the street at this. It's not at like a huge street, but I am across the street. And he goes and literally just walks into traffic. This car is about to hit, like, the screeching of the brakes.
Oh my God.
And I literally think like all the blood from my face just dropped into like my heart. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And at that point I'm like yelling. I'm like, you do not do that. You need to pay. Like, and at that point, like, my coping skills of the day were gone. Yeah. Just from like these things throughout the day. And like when it comes to like safety and community mobility and being just aware of what's going on. Like, I do not mess around with that.
Oh.
I'm very much like, no, like, put your
Like,
phone
this
away.
is a serious
Like,
time.
look both. Yeah, this is very, like, and I told him that. I was like, you could get so hurt. So it was a whole thing. And I was like, we need to go home. Like, we need to get home now. So I get him in. Thank God. Like, nothing happened. Like,
My God.
yeah, by some grace of whatever. But he gets into the Uber. We're driving away. This Uber driver saw the whole thing happen. Starts yelling at him.
Oh my God. Not
Uber
again.
of the day, just yelling at the people I'm with.
You're like,
And
how many bad reviews do I have to do today? All of them.
All of them. And then he's just yelling at him. But, like, I kind of let it go on a little bit. Like, I probably should have cut the Uber off. But I was like, no, like, I'm so flustered right now. Like, I need a moment because, like, you almost got hit by a car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's yelling at him, kind of like lecturing like a dad.
Okay.
So it wasn't, like, bad, but it was
Yeah.
definitely very stern,
Yeah.
like a lecture. And then me and the Uber are, like, talking, and I was like, yeah. And, like, the other guy right next to him did the same thing earlier. So the Uber turns to him and starts lecturing him.
We're like, okay.
Literally,
next,
like a dad.
You.
Yup. And then at the end of, like, the Uber lecturing the second guy that he was lecturing, he turns, or he looks at the Uber, salutes him, and goes, yes, sir. And I just thought it was the funniest thing.
Oh my God.
So, like, now somebody at work, I was telling them this story, and they're like, your Uber rating, like, aren't you worried? I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that until now.
Yeah.
So I went on today and looked at my Uber rating. I'm a 4.85. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably could be better, but.
Wait, yeah, I didn't think about that either. I always forget about that they can rate you.
Well,
Oh
I
my
rated
God.
them, like, good. Just in the
Yeah.
moment, I was just like, I need to, like,
Be like,
5 stars. Take it. I don't care.
5 stars.
But I'm good. My Uber ratings are good. Everyone's safe. We had a good laugh.
It was a good day.
It was turned out to be an okay day.
A+.
So, just
So-
crazy stuff like that all the time.
So do you think the guy that had the mobility or like imbalancing issues,
Yeah.
do you think at that point he understood it, or do you think it just because of, you know, intellectually and having a disability, he probably still won't understand it?
Yeah, I think there's just like a lot of layers when you like really break down what community mobility is. There's just so much that goes into it, and like skill wise.
Yeah.
So I feel like we could like build up the skills of like what community mobility is, and like especially if we really focused on like safety.
Yeah.
I think we could get there where he could be maybe not him specifically independent, but like other people with similar presenting issues. Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
independent in the community. But yeah, community mobility is just so important. It's something we really focus on, and that's exactly why we do it.
Yeah. Because a lot can
Yeah, a lot goes into it.
Oh boy.
But it goes like, when you really think about it, it's like attention, you know, and just
Sure.
overall
It's like the
awareness and
basics,
intellect.
yeah.
So, like maybe like for somebody will really focus on that attention piece, whereas somebody else like more of the safety, or
Yeah, depending on what they need.
or somebody else more of like navigating from point A to point B.
Yeah.
There's just different skills that we could build up.
Oh, wow.
But, a lot of safety. Safety's number one that people usually are lacking in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Crazy. Crazy.
Well, thank you for coming on,
Yeah.
telling us your stories.
Yeah. Of course.
If people want to reach out to you and say hello, or maybe they need some professional pictures.
Yeah, if anyone
Or
wants
is it-
photos.
Yeah, where can they
Let's
find
go
you?
take photos. Yeah, so like I said, I'm a full-time occupational therapist. But on the side, which is like really my passion, is photography. And I really specialize in couples and like engagements, and hopefully like leading to weddings, which would be a dream. But I do a lot of couple photo shoots and engagements. So you can find me on Instagram. It's photography is it underscore? Is that the name of the like?
Yeah.
Okay, photography underscore
Yeah,
by underscore Keri, Keri. So photography by Keri. And that's on Insta. I think that's my Facebook too.
Okay.
And then my website is photographybyKeriVisions.com.
All right.
So, yeah. So
good stuff.
That's a little about me.
Good. Okay. Well, we'll catch everyone next week.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Bye. You made it to the end of the episode. Congratulations. No, but truly, thank you so much for listening. And stay up to date with my podcast by going to my Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok accounts. Interested in being a guest on a future season or know someone that would be a great fit to be a guest? Go to my website, tap on Be a Guest, and fill out the form.